January 7 p.m. Planning Commission meeting will come to order. Roll call, please. Start there.
John Eads, present.
Scott Wolschlager, present.
Tushar Desai, present.
Paul Himmelko, present.
Lou Yang, present.
Tom Hausen, present.
All right. Thank you. Approval of minutes. Any team members have any questions about the meeting minutes as presented?
One moment, you need to approve the agenda before we do the minutes. Looks like you had
Oh,
skipped.
sorry, I missed the approval
Yes,
of agenda.
Yep.
Sorry. Any questions on adding anything to the agenda? Staff, anything? Nothing today? Anything here?
I make a motion, we approve them.
Paul makes a motion.
A second.
Tom seconds. All those in favor of approving the agenda,
Aye.
say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, now we'll get to the approval of minutes. Any questions for anyone on the meeting minutes that was submitted?
I see none.
None? Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Scott makes a motion, second.
I second it.
Paul seconds. All those in favor of approving the meeting minutes as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So
One
all ayes.
abstention.
Huh?
Abstention.
You were absent. Okay, Lou was absent last time, so this is an abstention. All right. We'll go to Part E, which is public hearing, home occupation license resolution innately designed, 2155 Prosperity Road North. Staff report.
All right, good evening, Chair and Commissioners. Tonight we have a home occupation license review for you. At 2155 Prosperity Road, Samantha Joyer, the property owner, has applied for a home occupation license to operate a business.
I can hardly hear you for some.
Oh, yes, here, I will talk a little closer. So the property owner, Samantha Joyer, has applied for a home occupation license to operate a business within a portion of their home. And it's a residential property on Prosperity Road. The business's name is Innately Designed, and they provide chiropractic and birth doula care services. To move forward with this, the applicant is requesting approval of the home occupation license resolution. The city's 2040 comprehensive plan guides the property for low-density residential and attached and detached single dwelling homes are included in this designation. And the home-based business is not changing the land use of the property, so it meets the overall intent of the comprehensive plan. In the property zoning designation, R1 single dwelling, home occupations are permitted, requires city council approval and an annual license renewal with the city clerk. The city requires a license for certain activities conducted as home-based businesses, and where these activities may occur more than 30 days a year. That's what triggers the requirement in this case. And also that she would have customers or vehicles coming onto the property. So the applicant is operating a chiropractic office that serves pregnant and postpartum women, providing doula care in addition to select pediatric services. She anticipates that she would serve an average of 1 to 5 customers per week. And the business would be operated in a portion of the owner's residential home on the main level. And the property owner is the sole employee. Customers would visit the property by appointment only, so there would be, generally one individual or one vehicle there. And customers can park on the property owner's driveway or on-street parking as it's permitted and regulated by the city. There would be no exterior changes to the house or the property except for an exterior sign. And code allows the home occupation to have one wall sign, not more than 2 square feet. The applicant submitted a floor plan showing the main floor the main floor and the entrance, and then you can see the office for her business off the main porch entrance. So the business office is 9.3 by 10 feet, approximately 93 square feet on the main level. and plans to operate Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. We did send out a public hearing notice to the 59 properties within 500 feet. We did not receive comments in advance of preparing our staff report that you received. However, you might have noticed there were 2 printed copies of some emails on your, in front of you there. I also did put a copy on the back by the public copy of the Planning Commission packet, and this will be included in the council report. The 2 emails that we received, I did also include an image here in the slide from a couple folks that had got the public hearing notice, overall supportive of the proposal. And then staff is recommending approval of this home occupation license resolution. We did have a review comment from our building official, and this just gets to the appointment only part of this, being that if the business were open to the public and for like walk-in services, then there would need to be further evaluation and review of the occupancy. But it's not the proposed proposal here, but we did add that as a condition for the future. So tonight, the Planning Commission, you're holding a public hearing to review this, and then this is tentatively scheduled to go to the City Council for final consideration on February 9th. Here is the recommended motion for you to review. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have, and then our applicant, Samantha Joyer, the property owner and business operator, is here as well and can address any questions that you might have.
Do you have to have a chiropractor's license in Maplewood?
I guess that's a good question. I don't think we would get involved in that. That would be a private license situation. I'd let her answer that question. What we require is a license for the home-based business, if that makes sense. So we're requiring a license through the city clerk's office to operate a home-based business or a home occupation
But I would
annually.
still think you'd want to have a record of a business that's operating a licensed operation.
Right, and she would presumably provide that information to the city clerk as part of the annual renewal. But I don't know the specifics of what types of licensing and is required for what she's doing. I would let her address that.
Okay. And then also, on her application too, she noted there was like £1,000 vehicle weight, and that's inaccurate. Average vehicle is about 4,500 pounds. Just a clarification.
Okay.
Chair and Commissioner,
I-
the city does not license chiropractors, the state does. So it's not a city license, but as Elizabeth mentioned, there is the license for the home occupation, and they would have to register as a business. So any business that doesn't require a license in some other avenue in the city is required to register through the city clerk's office.
So in regards to the CUP for a home occupancy license under that section 14 through 56, the only reason she's here for this commissioner meeting is because she's going to have a customer or customer vehicles on the presence?
That's correct.
And none of the other
No.
apply?
None of the other criteria or reasons for this license would apply. The only reason she is here tonight is because she would, potentially have customers there more than 30 days a year, and then also she would have a customer visiting the premise.
My follow-up question is kind of more for the city in regards to why we don't see more of these CUPs in regards to home-based businesses, because we see very few of these. So it seems like Ms. Joyner's done her work and is actually coming forward. And I think there's also a number of businesses out there that I wonder are fairly unregulated, and what are those mechanisms for her regulation versus some of these people who probably don't have CUPs that you can easily see in your neighborhood with vehicles that have advertisement on the side and big trailers, et cetera.
So just board and commission, it's a point of clarification. It's not a conditional use permit. And I just state that because those have different meanings and standings. So this is a license, so it does not run with the property like a conditional use permit would. So when the applicant, say, were to move on to a different property, this approval does not stay. It ceases at that point because it's a license. And then as Elizabeth had shown on the screen, the application, when you take a look at the home occupation license application, there's certain standards. So, you know, if someone has a work truck that, yeah, is branded and it's under light duty classification, they wouldn't necessarily need a home occupation license. They can operate, you know, leave from their house. They can even have parts in their garage necessarily. It's really what we see for the type of business you're looking at tonight, or we'll see other like hair care, those kind of businesses when you have the customers coming to the site for the service to be provided. But we know there's lots of people that operate like they're an accountant and they do not have customers coming to their property, or at least for more than 30 days a year, so they don't need a license or haven't gotten a license. I would suspect as well that there are people that probably should have this designation that haven't. And so if there's certain properties that anyone here or listening outside of this meeting were to be aware of that, you know, definitely let city staff know and we'll take a look at that further. But yeah, it's not just the sole action of having a business at your property that kicks in this license requirement. There's I believe 6 things that if any one of them kick in, then this license is required.
Any other questions? If not, I'll open it up to the public. If the applicant is in-house, if they can come up, sign in, and
Hi, I'm Samantha. Thanks for having me tonight. To your point, I don't have an expertise in cars at all, so that's my mistake. I have an expertise in pregnancy care and pediatric care and chiropractic care. So thanks for that correction. To your point, yes, you do need a license by the state of Minnesota. It's nothing to do with the city for chiropractic care. You can search anyone's public license. My number is 6768. But you could search anybody's name and find their license, and any issues with it or points that you'd want to make sure that they have. And we follow certain continuing ed requirements every year and reattesting and applying every year for that license to be approved. Was there any other questions or?
Well, nothing from staff. Anything else from the commission?
What exactly is the baby thing? I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, great question. Like you said, I am trying to do things by the book and apply for the license appropriately. So I'm a mom. I have 2 little kiddos at home, and that really inspired me to learn more about pediatric chiropractic care. So it's a very gentle technique that's done to the spine after babies are born. It can be very early, like 3 days after a baby's been born, or up to adolescence. So I really specialize in that pediatric care. It's a very gentle technique to the spine that can help eliminate ear infections, colic, reflux, sleeping issues. In the schools, we see a lot of help with ADHD, bedwetting, the list goes on. But it's a technique that's really specific just for kids, and it's really gentle. So I mainly am a mom who wants to be home with my own children, but I want to do the home business to be able to serve other moms and welcome them in the right way.
Do you know most of your patients too? I'm concerned about security. Do you know them? So
That's the idea with the appointments only, is that would be kind of just a word of mouth, not anyone walking in, correct, yeah. That's a concern of mine as well.
Now, will you sell any vitamins or products in that, health products or?
I don't intend to have that be something that I really explore, but I could see maybe carrying 1 or 2 things on hand that I often recommend, like a garlic oil or a homeopathy, really small things that I recommend often, yeah.
so in this business, you can afford to just stay Monday to Friday and not take any patients on Saturday and Sunday?
Can I afford to do that?
No. Would you? Because if a patient says, I got to come see you on Saturday, then
Oh.
would you do that? Or you tell ask them to wait till Monday?
Chiropractic really isn't an emergency service,
Okay.
so we do really hold office hours. I could see on a rare exception, like a mom is hoping to go into labor, something like that, that I would maybe make one exception. But I intend mainly to stay Monday through Friday in those
Okay.
business hours. And 7 PM would be late. It really would be mainly during the day.
Okay. Any other questions?
In regards to parking, it looks like the
Yeah.
driveway was the intended location for patient parking?
Yes.
Okay. Or client parking, or however
Yeah,
you refer. Sorry.
yeah,
Okay.
correct.
4,500-pound vehicles.
Or a big truck, whatever comes. All right, so anything else? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
If there is anyone else that wishes to come up to the podium and ask questions or discuss this subject matter? Well, last chance. No, I'll close the public hearing. Commission members, any more questions of the staff? None? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, John makes a motion.
I make a motion to approve the resolution for a home occupancy license permitting a chiropractic and birth doula care office at the residential property located at 2155 Prosperity Road North, subject to certain conditions of approval.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Paul seconds. All those in favor of approving as recommended, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. There is all ayes, no nays. Motion has passed. It'll now go to the city council for the final approval on February 9th, you said? All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks.
Item B on the schedule today is conditional use permit amendment resolution, Unison Restaurant and Banquet LLC, 1800 White Bear Avenue North. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Chair and Commission. As was mentioned, we're looking at the commercial building at 1800 White Bear Avenue, which is on the east side, just south of Ripley Avenue and Aldrich Arena. You can see the property outlined in red on the right-hand side of the screen. Had a couple different users historically, and then in 2018, the current group, Unison, purchased the building and was approved for a conditional use permit to operate a community center. And this was deemed a community center because there's a multi-use or an event center type component to the building. It's not just one thing. It's a restaurant, bar, banquet hall, gym, and offices. So again, in terms of zoning, the city deemed it as a community center because of the event center type of uses, which kicked in the conditional use permit requirement, which again was approved in 2018. So the applicant is here before you tonight to request approval of a conditional use permit amendment, and really just focusing on the hours of operation. As you saw in the applicant's letter, and they're present here tonight as well to answer questions from the commission, they feel that the closing hours have put them at a competitive disadvantage in terms of operation to other like businesses in the city and nearby. So they're asking that the Planning Commission tonight and the City Council ultimately consider revising those hours. So in 2018, the applicant proposed the following closing hours of 11 p.m. Sunday through Thursday, and then 12 a.m. on the weekends, Friday and Saturday. This was due to discussion that went forward as part of the review of this condition. The applicant actually presented it to the council at the meeting in 2018 as an, again, because there's some neighborhood concern about the Unison moving into a different type of use into this building. The applicant was proactive in trying to find a way to alleviate some of those concerns, and they proposed those hours, which the council did ultimately include into the conditional use permit at that time. Today, 7.5 years later, Unison is proposing that the conditional use permit be amended so that those hours now are closing at 12 a.m. Sunday through Thursday and 2 a.m. Friday and Saturday. As discussed in the report, if this building was just a restaurant or just a bar, it wouldn't need a conditional use permit. There would be no ability for the city to limit hours. It wouldn't come to the planning commission, they could just open permitted by right. That's just context. It's not that, obviously. It is these multiple uses. It does seem, though, that the restaurant, bar, banquet hall are the more concerning uses to the neighborhood. And I just want to, again, point out, if any one of those were to operate individually, the city wouldn't be limiting the hours. There wouldn't be a CUP. We did ask public safety is with any land use request, but this one in particular because there's no building component. They're not looking to change anything physically on the site. It's just this request is solely about hours of operation. We asked public safety to review this request and compare it to like establishments. Again, focusing on the establishments that the applicant called out in their letter. Unison has had 74 calls for service in 3 years. As you can see in the staff report, that was not an outlier when compared to other similar businesses. It's within the range. It's a little bit on the lower side compared to other like businesses. And the public safety director, the police chief, said he does not have any specific concerns with this request and any more than he would have with any other establishment within the city that functions and does what they do in terms of services. It should also be pointed out, Unison does employ off-duty deputies on the weekends. The applicant has stated that they will continue to do so moving forward. City sent public hearing notifications for tonight's public hearing to the 50 surrounding properties within 500 feet. The city did receive one letter from a resident that was included in your staff report that stated concern with the request. Tonight, the Planning Commission's reviewing this project and with an anticipated City Council review next month. So with conditions of approval found with the report, staff is recommending approval of the project. Here's your recommended action directly from the staff report if the Planning Commission were to move in that direction. But as mentioned earlier, this is a public hearing. Staff can stand for questions and the applicant can also stand for questions.
Any question?
Yeah, one question for clarity. So if they took out the office, the gym, and just were a restaurant bar, they could extend the hours without any, so they could just do what they wanted to do if they didn't have that mixed use.
Correct. Chair and Commission, that in default, because the conditional use permit would no longer be required, they would have just a permitted use, either restaurant or bar. They could operate how they saw fit, no conditional use permit.
Just trying to play that hypothetical. So if hypothetically they said, no, we don't want to do this, they can go back and say, okay, well, we don't have an office anymore, so now we're just a restaurant bar, and then we can have the hours they want. Based on licenses with.
Yeah, the hypothetical could prove out, what staff considered too is if Unison ceased operations on the site, someone else moved in, yes, they could just be a bar or a restaurant. And, another thing to point out in Maplewood, other suburban communities, not all, but some suburban communities, to operate a bar, you have to have a certain percentage of food sales.
Right.
Maplewood does not have that requirement. So the fact that there is a restaurant paired with the bar complements one another in terms of it's just not a bar, right, today, and that's not what's being proposed.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Mike, in the safety report, does it break down any times that the occurrences occurred, like when they're called, the police officers and that, or is that?
Chair and Commission, as far as the data that we reviewed from the police department, no, it didn't break down the times of the day that the service calls. We were just looking holistic numbers in a 3-year period for comparison's sake. But again, the businesses are like, so you would probably make an assumption that they're operating or those calls would be at similar times. Now, I will have the caveat that, our police chief, the assistant police chief, and the record specialist all reviewed this and then provided the summary of their review. So I do feel confident that if they found an outlier of any systemic problems, whether it's through time of day or certain types of calls, that would have been identified, and they generally did not find those concerns.
Any other questions for the staff? If no questions, I'll open it up for the public hearing. If the representative from the facility is here, if you could come up and introduce yourself, sign in, please.
Thank you, guys.
A lefty, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, first job was a engineer, and it was funny. My first interview, they're just like, "Oh, you're a lefty," and it's like 80% of the panel was lefty, so it was really easy.
It was the end, huh?
So we have here, go ahead, my wife Kalia, we're partners in this business. And then I also brought my sheriff deputy sergeant. He's the one that schedules the sheriff team that comes and helps us on Fridays and Saturdays. So just like Maplewood, they're also a partner to our business for succeeding. Yes, we're here tonight because we're wanting to extend the hours. Of course, if we can all stay in business, you know, closing at 8 p.m. we would. I think it's just become tough as other bars, restaurants, and banquet halls emerge and they're closing later than we are. And so that's really the reason why we're here tonight, is to stay afloat, you know, be a key business in the Maplewood community, and also, you know, be able to provide what our competitors provide. Mainly, some of them are in St. Paul, others are in North St. Paul, and then some in Oakdale. So we're just, you know, not wanting anything more, we're just wanting to be equal. And so that's why we're here tonight, and we're here to answer any questions. And then moreover, if there's any safety concerns, which we're number one for, you know, we want to be the benchmark for all bars and restaurants and banquet halls in town. That's why, you know, it was never asked that we had deputies, but we always wanted to gain the trust of our patrons, our employees, and also our neighbors who are just within feet of us, so that's fine, yeah.
Any questions for?
Have you seen the vehicles doing spin-outs in the parking lot that the neighbor had complained about, people flying out of there or anything? Have you
Yeah,
seen
I
that?
have not, but the good thing about Unison is not only do we have like sheriffs or security staff inside, we also have a security personnel with a patrol car in the parking lot. And so there's White Bear Avenue is highly concentrated, and there's stoplights right in between both of them. So it can happen anywhere, but I doubt that, you know, I haven't seen anybody, but I doubt that somebody leaving Unison would want to be foolish knowing that they're leaving a place that serves alcohol to do those kind of things too. But, you know, I haven't seen it, yeah.
At midnight, do you see people talking about wanting to continue, like, well, let's go to the next bar or whatever, or you see people kind of fizzling out like, we're
Yes, I
going
can
home?
just speak with history, and my deputies here too. People used to come early to hang out at Unison. They normally come around 8:30, and they would leave home around 11. But once these bars started closing later, then you don't really see them till about, you know, 10:30, 11, because they know that they're going to go somewhere else. And I think that one of the things that I spoke to Sergeant Powell Lee before we even approaching the city is, you know, I wanted his feedback. I wanted to make sure that he was okay, and he felt that it was safe for us to go forward, because there were so many positives in it too, which is to contain, you know, all our patrons, so that once they actually go home, that they leave Unison and they go straight home, not to, you know, say Cups and Chairs, which is to the left, and then Reaches, which is to the right, and then, you know, and so like we're like dead center, you know. So it'd be great if, you know, they're at what we consider ourselves, we pride ourselves in being the benchmark for security, that when they leave Unison, that we've been the place that they've been at, and, you know, my security team has watched them all night, and that they just leave and go home and not bar hop. So that's what we're also see it as a positive to all of this too, yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions? If not, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
If there is anyone else that wishes to speak to the subject matter, please come up, sign your name in, and let us know.
My name is Torrin Gustafson. I live directly across the street from Unison at 1773 White Bear Avenue North. And I would like to speak in favor of them being allowed to extend their business hours. I think there are a few things that should be considered. First of all, is that adjoining their business is the gym that was mentioned. As a member of this gym, I go there 4 to 5 times a week. It is a 24/7 gym. So if we're looking at the totality of, I think, the Maplewood rules that had been discussed, if it is a 24/7 gym and we're talking about this community center space that's really a restaurant, there's not any conflicting, I would say, purpose with those businesses or conflicting really anything with those businesses. Additionally, I live directly across the street. I have never seen a spin out in 7.5 years. And I have a glass front door and 2 big windows looking out over the street. So I've not seen that type of behavior. So I would dispute that. Maybe it happened once or twice, but I can't say that has been any of my observations ever. Additionally, I think it is great to have a mixture of uses in the neighborhood. I love having a restaurant across the street, and as a busy, active professional, sometimes I get home late, and it really would be great to have another option for a food in the neighborhood after midnight. And additionally, too, I love bringing my friends over there. A few of my friends from London came to visit, and they came, we had food over at Unison, and they said, hey, I really like your neighborhood. So I just like to speak positively of the business. I think they should consider, or you should really consider approving their conditional use permit. I think there's only 2 minor, very minor concerns that I have. I think one is with the parking lot lighting. I've noticed that I think over the past couple of years, a few of the lights have burnt out, and I think the timing on them might be a little bit off, given the when the sun rises and sets. That's really the only main one. The other very, very small concern, and I don't know if this is Unison property, Gruber's property, or the White Bear Avenue right-of-way. However, there are 2 ash trees that have been dying over the past couple of years, and if something could be done to take care of those. Other than that, love my neighbors. I think that their conditional use permit should be approved, and love to see them continue in business. So thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you.
You could do a gym day on taking the trees down.
My name is Dave Halke and Cynthia Halke. We live at 1831 White Bear Avenue, which is just on the other side of Haney Rental. We've witnessed quite a few instances with Unison, the loudness in particular of their events, which is practically every weekend, till they close at midnight. Right now, they're so loud, they shake the windows.
Watch it.
And on like the 4th of July weekend, they shoot, people in their parking lot shoot fireworks all over the place. And we're scared to death because if one of them hits Haney Rental, we'll have an international incident real quick.
Watch it.
And as far as spinouts, we've seen them. We've seen the races up White Bear Avenue North because they use the stoplight as a, what you call it, drag race stoplight. And they do burnouts right there and go right up the street. And I've talked to the Maplewood Police. He says, well, we can't do anything about it. And that's the officer in charge on Monday morning. He says, that's, they've got their rent-a-cops or whatever, and they rent Ramsey County Sheriff's Department. And you can watch Maplewood cops go right down the street and right when all the action's taking place. So this is not, good idea at all. And as far as their times, they're talking about being in line with other restaurants in the area. The only other restaurant in the area is Taco Bell. There's another,
Best Steakhouse.
no, Best Steakhouse, but there's also another Chinese restaurant down the street a little ways, and they're closed at way before then. So, to me, already they're way late beyond that. And, no, not to 2 a.m.
How long you lived there?
We've lived there close to
38 years.
38, well, yeah, 38 years. That's just us. My parents have owned the place, used to own the place before we did, and they lived, and they bought the place in 1966. So we've lived there quite a few years. We requested the place to go commercial, or my dad did, back in the 70s. And he was told no.
Watch it.
And so he went around, but that's another story.
How do you know that those vehicles are coming from the restaurant there, that they're
How
not
do we
just
know?
driving
Because I
up?
stood out at the end of the driveway and watched them. That's how I know. And you can see them, and it's usually, it's small little, they used to call them racers. Well, that's what they call them.
You mentioned your call,
With the big deals on there, on the back ends,
Scoops and that, yeah.
scoops or whatever, and they'll sit out there and they'll rev their engines and go.
What time do you typically go to bed?
1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
I go to bed like around 9 o'clock, and I'll get woken up around midnight with bullhorns going, disperse, disperse now, immediately, leave, disperse. And it's just like, what's going on? And, because I have to be up early morning, I have a grandchild that I take care of now that I'm retired. Before I was retired, I'd have to be to work at 6, so I was up at 5 a.m. So I would be in bed at 8, 9 o'clock and be woken up around midnight, 1 o'clock, with this noise coming from that area.
But they have concerts outside. It's not inside. I mean, it'd be something if there was just inside. It's outside also. They have concerts. So you can hear the music, because you hear the banging and the drums and the music playing. So it'd be a whole different, but you would think it was always played towards the Baptist church. But you still hear it, because it comes back out and around. It's that loud.
You
And the
mentioned,
people-
you called the police on you said Monday morning, you talked to the police.
On quite a few occasions on Monday morning, yes. And I've called them at night also.
Okay, that's my question,
And
is if
they've
you're-
told me the same story. And I get the 911 and, whatever. I mean, it's not the first time we've done this. I mean, I went around with them several times, and I've given up, plain given up, because you hear the same story
Yeah.
over and over again. So
How many times do you think you called? I'm just asking for specifics. How many times did you think?
5, 6 times.
Okay.
I mean, how many times would you keep calling them without, getting no satisfaction?
No, I'm not being contrarian. I'm just asking how many times, just to get an
I mean,
idea what's
it's
happening.
not-
Yeah.
I mean, we don't want to, we don't mind them being in business, I mean, it's fine. But late at night, when you got 11 o'clock, 11 PM curfew on kids and for noise and stuff like that, it's got to be followed too.
I'll say, is there anything to indicate that it's actually patrons of the restaurant and bar that are
Oh,
doing
they've come
this?
up the
or
street
is-
on the,
Or is it just people that are just happening to use the parking lot because that's just what
No.
they're choosing to?
well, if they're not at the bar, why would they be in the parking lot?
I can remember times where I've definitely seen where cars will just collect in random spots. I've seen it along 61 even. I saw a whole bunch of like Chargers
We-
and Camaros
we
and stuff that
have-
just chose that as a location to meet up as just, you know, so I think
Well,
sometimes
we-
it's just car people wanting to meet
Well,
up to be with other
yes.
car people.
We
I-
see a lot in Alderina's parking lot, because we're right up from there.
Yeah.
Okay, and we
And we
go,
deal with their concerts a lot also, but
Yeah.
not on a
they're
regular
done by
basis.
midnight or.
You know, not on a regular basis like this was, or they've been.
We can't even have our bedroom windows open in the
No.
summertime.
So, we're just stating our facts.
Yep. Yep.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for your input.
Yep, thank you.
Yep.
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak to this subject matter?
My name is Raymond Duran. I live at 1849 White Bear Avenue. Basically, Dave and Cindy spoke for me because basically it's the noise at night and a lot of commotion and everything. So that's my beef on it. And that's all I got to say.
All right, thank you.
Your neighbor's right next door, right?
Right,
Yes, I live right next door to the Hulkies.
okay, thanks.
I guess kind of a two-part question, maybe partially for the owner, and maybe partially for the city as well here. But the events that they're talking about with like the outdoor with music and stuff, do you guys host outdoor events that you have like where there's stuff set up in the parking lot or in an area around the building that you're doing outdoor events?
If you could
As
come
part of
up
the
to the
business?
podium and speak to it, please.
Yes, I don't, but I remember one instance. There is a organization that they do, I think, an event, they call it Asian Night Market or something. And they had it at the Aldous Arena. And so it was in the parking lot, they had a stage there, yeah. So that's
Okay.
the only time that I've ever seen.
But you don't actually host events through your business?
I have not hosted a outdoors event yet.
Okay. And I guess for the city, if there was outdoor events, is there separate permitting required for stuff like that, that the city would be required? Okay.
Correct. Chair and Commission, there's a license that you obtain through the city clerk. There's hours of operation in terms of noise. I believe it's 10 PM that it must cease.
Okay.
So yeah, there is a process to have outdoor events.
Okay. Great, thank you.
Is there any other questions before I close the open hearing? There are no questions. Public hearing is closed. Commission members, are there any more questions?
The only question I have for staff is, so with the 75 approximate calls, that, is there any breakdown they were able to make, public safety, like what they were?
Yeah, correct. Chair and Commission, it was over, a 3-year period, just general calls for service. Sometimes it's a 911 hang-up, and then they're returning to that. It wasn't like, we did not get the information broken down of like domestic assault or those type of things. And again, we relied on the professional staff on the police side to call out, yep, this is a recurrent issue, this is things that, there was nothing that, from their data review, that stood out in terms of a concern for this site.
I've get a lot of, unfortunately, burglar.
You have to come up.
I've hit a lot of false burglar alarms too, so that may be also a lot of it too. Yeah, just false alarms from our security company. And then a lot of other events are just when the kids come to the banquet site, they pull my fire alarm. So I've had at least 4 instances where fire trucks and things come out there too. So,
That's not good.
yeah, so it's not good. I need to do something about my fire alarm thing. Yeah.
Out.
Yeah.
So may I ask a couple,
Yeah.
can you?
Can you come back? He's got a question.
Yeah, no, so we've had a couple comments today from the public.
Yeah.
One was addressing the lighting issue. Do you concede that might be an issue, the lights in the parking lot? Do you think that perhaps better lighting would also
Yes,
mitigate?
I've had a couple electrical companies come out there. They're trying to work with Excel to see if they can, give like the new high efficiency LED types. But I think there's things like, certain requirements that you have to meet to get those type of, like, I guess, discounts but yeah, I mean, definitely it's something that I will at least do my best to ensure that the ones that function, and the ones that are broken get repaired, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for.
So staff, the question for the lighting is that location meeting the city requirements for lighting?
Chair and Commission, it's, yes, I mean, neither project, or request, I should say, was a construction project, so we never had like a lighting plan pulled in.
Okay.
But I've taken note of the concerns that we've heard tonight about, lights being out or the timing aspect, so we'll be following up on that on a separate track.
Okay.
Outside of tonight's meeting. But yeah, as terms of those lights have been in place for many years, so staff does not have a concern from the light intensity spilling off.
And the ash trees that were mentioned as well, if they are city, then city is responsible. If it is on their property,
Right.
they
Yep.
would be responsible for removing them.
Correct, so yeah, and the right-of-way is Ramsey County.
Okay.
White Avenue is a Ramsey County road, so yeah, we'll look into those ash trees to see what the condition is and where they are and follow up appropriately. And I do just want to follow up on the calls for service. So we do have a bit of a more breakdown, and as the applicants had said, the responding to alarms is one of their higher calls. But when I do look at like the more, the ones that you might be drawn to, whether it's disorderly or assault, there have been 8 of those calls in the 3 years. And because they're not applicants tonight, I don't want to call out specific other businesses. But other businesses that we looked at in Maplewood would have, in some cases, 2 more or 3 times that, similar type calls in that 3-year period. So as we mentioned, we're not seeing a concentrated, like, yep, we know Unison has issues with this,
Yep.
that stands out comparatively to other businesses.
Okay,
They are here.
Yep.
Yep.
yep. If there are no more questions from it, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
All right, any questions for the staff? None? Okay, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the conditional use permit amendment resolution to permit the sports bar, restaurant, and banquet hall located at 1800 White Bear Avenue North to operate until 12 a.m. on weeknights and 2 a.m. on weekends.
Is there a second?
Second, Lou.
Lou seconds. All those in favor of approving the recommended action, say aye.
Aye.
All ayes, no nays, motion carries. When is that going to the city council?
Chair and Commission, February 9th.
February 9th is the city council, okay? All right, thank you. Is there any new business today? None? No unfinished business, any commission presentations? Nope. Staff?
Chair and Commissioner, I just want to point out a couple items. You should have received an email from Colin from the City Manager's Office regarding a Commission Appreciation Dinner on February 5th, that's a Thursday, I believe, at 5 p.m. at the North Fire Station. So I'd encourage everyone to come, but RSVP either way to Colin when you get a chance. But that should be a fun event, and like I said, starts at 5, and please come. And then the other element in the next couple of months, we'll be doing this with the CDRB as well, a training and just kind of education session, either in the context of a meeting that same time, or we'll find a comparable time that works for as many people as possible. But, both groups have a couple new members in the time since we've done the last kind of bring the city attorney in and bring other resources in and just kind of talk what expectations are and roles of being a commission member here in the city of Maplewood. So something to look forward to, but just wanted to put a plug out there for that.
Perfect, thank
That's
you.
all staff has.
Thank you. There are no visitors, so can't have any presentations.
But question, did the, can you always give us an update of what the city approves when, it comes before us, and then what they didn't approve and approve? Like, I see the conditional use for Jarvis, did that go through, or?
It was Jarvis.
That's correct.
Yeah, button.
Jarvis.
Yes. Which one? Jarvis Court or Jarvis
It
Avenue?
was,
There was two different ones, but there was the church.
1790 Jarvis Court, I
Right.
guess was the one
Yep,
I'm,
the auto shop and the auto sales. Yes,
Yeah.
that was approved.
okay.
And I will put a plug on the city council's webpage. The communication staff does a recap of every meeting, so it's a little more of a summary, so you kind of get just to the bullet points. So I'd encourage you to take a look at that. We can also make an effort, to follow up on planning commission items and the result at the city council, but just holistically of what's going on in your city, I'd encourage you to take a look at that city council page on a regular basis.
I would say if it's possible to link that when you send out the preliminary agenda to us and everything, that would be appreciated. I know I try to go on and look at the stuff, but I don't always make it on there, so
Yep. yeah,
having
we
that
can-
extra little push from you guys would be appreciated.
We can look into that for sure. That makes sense.
Okay, is there anything else, folks? All right, we shall adjourn the planning commission meeting. Thank you.
Yep.